Michael was a former Ivy League Cornell student with an economics degree. He had an IQ of 150. He was charming and polite. Michael was the perfect gentleman that you'd wish your daughter to introduce to the family. There was just one small problem. Michael had scheduled himself to die. Oh, and his living arrangements left much to be desired. Prison is no place to raise a family. Michael was born to Patricia Hilda Lane and Dan Graham Ross on July 26, 1959, in Putnam, Connecticut. This was a loveless marriage. Pat found out that she was pregnant, married, and had 4 more children, making Michael the eldest. The family resided on a chicken farm in Brooklyn, Connecticut. Pat would later leave with another man. When she returned, she was placed in a facility where she admitted abusing the children with a focus on Michael. There are also reports that Michael was molested by his teenage uncle before he committed suicide. So it's no surprise that Michael demonstrated antisocial behavior from an early age, and unusual fantasies. But Michael excelled in school. He received his high school diploma from the aptly named Killingley High School in Killingley, Connecticut, in 1977, and his degree in economics from Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, in May 1981. Then he became an insurance salesman, but his fantasies progressed along with his career. The violence escalated as Michael's love life deteriorated. Michael Ross had fallen in love with a young woman while attending Cornell. Their relationship went well until she became pregnant and had an abortion. After that, the relationship ended and caused Michael to have violent sexual fantasies. In his second year, it is where he began stalking women and continued to do so during his senior year, culminating in a rape. It is uncertain how Michael chose his victims, but it is known that he would approach them on the side of the road, talk to them, luring them into either a sense of calm or threatening them with a worse alternative, and take them to a location where he would rape, murder, and then leave them. It was when seasoned detective Michael Malchik was assigned to the murder cases that Michael Bruce Ross was caught. Malchik briefly looked into the early 1980s killings or disappearances of women who were ultimately identified as Ross's victims in Connecticut. Malchik was assigned the day Wendy Baribeault, a resident of Lisbon, became the final victim. It was almost a fluke that Michael was caught. When Malchik walked up to the house and met with gangly, unassuming Michael, he walked away, but Michael called him back, inviting him and his partner for coffee. Malchik became suspicious when Michael began asking questions such as if a killer could escape the electric chair. When they left, Malchik asked, as an afterthought, what Michael had been doing the day of the murder. Michael gave him an hour-by-hour itinerary. After a moment, Malchik asked him what he had been doing the day before. Michael couldn't come up with an answer. Michael was then arrested and confessed to the murders.
Well, I'm a serial killer. I've killed 8 women, 6 in this state and 2 in New York. I'm on death row for 4 of those women.
After his arrest in 1984, Michael converted to Catholicism, visiting with 2 priests frequently throughout the years and praying the rosary every morning. Michael served as a mentor to other prisoners while he was inside, translated documents into Braille, studied law and medical textbooks, and supported a Dominican Republic child financially. Even though he opposed the death penalty, Michael firmly backed his own execution, stating that he wished to spare the families of his victims any further suffering.
They got me on death row like that's supposed to be some big punishment. And for some of us, death is not a punishment. Living is what the punishment is.
But was this true? The electric chair was in disrepair without a repairman or an electrocutioner. And if the chair was to be up and running, the witness area and the death house suite needed to be repaired. There was also no longer an execution manual, nor an electrical power grid to volunteer for the procedure. This was well over a $6 million endeavor, not including the psychologist bills. And he had volunteered, which automatically made the public outraged that the state would grant his wish. So, the psychologists were called, and to everyone's surprise, the defense and the prosecution's experts agreed, saying the crimes were the direct result of the uncontrollable sexual aggressive impulses to which he was prey. But the jury decided that he was still guilty, impulses or not, sentencing him to death. But the prosecution had not let their psychologist testify, so the verdict was sent to the Connecticut Supreme Court, where the death penalty was ultimately outlawed, and Michael's sentence was reversed. At this point, Michael was only being looked at for 6 murders. When insulted during an interview, he began to inflate his number to 8, identifying the girls and where the bodies were dumped, with never released details.
I don't want to say I don't have any remorse. It's just it's like they weren't real. I know this sounds really terrible. Like, for example, I can't see them as I was killing them.
In 2005, Michael Ross asked for the death penalty again by lethal injection. However, his former public defenders, a death row expert, and a former prison official raised serious concerns over his treatment on death row. Michael tried to commit suicide 3 times when he was incarcerated. After his 3rd attempt, he wrote about how lonely it was for him to spend 23 hours a day in his cell, thinking about his crimes and getting ready to be put to death.
Michael Ross's state of mind seems to change through a period of time. At one point, he had petitioned the court to be castrated due to these sexual urges that he was having.
Ultimately, Michael was found competent, and Connecticut carried out his decision on May 13, 2005.
He's the only serial murderer we've ever had in the state of Connecticut, and the first person to get the death penalty in 33 years.
The life of Michael Bruce Ross is a strange and twisted tale full of manipulation. It's almost certain that Michael was proud of his celebrity status as a serial killer.
Most strangulations, there's multiple where you move your hands around. In this case, I think it was on the Stavinksy girl. There was 3. And he made a comment that he had never seen that before, and it was an insane, I'm pretty sure that was the word he used, an insane strength or something, and because I got a kick out of it because the prosecutor, had no idea that was coming.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to check out the channel and visit more interesting content. Thank you for watching, and see you again. Take care.